Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings, everyone. This is the Sound Health Options Show for February 9th, 2014, with Richard Olson and...
Sherry Edwards. If you want to join us, well, we're broadcasting two places. One, WebEx, which will give you the picture, and you'll be looking at our guest's face and her book at the moment. So if you want to hear us on Blog Talk Radio, and we get credit for all of you who call in, is 347-850-1407, and I put that in the chat. Judy, will you keep repeating that when people come in? We have mostly practitioners, I think, with us today, people who have taken some of our courses. And we talk about these ideas of nano voice and personality and knowing where you need to go, knowing where you want to go in our free software called Nano Voice, N-A-N-O, voice.org, and that's on our Sound Health Options website, the soundhealthoptions.com, and you can go to radio and look everything up, or you can go to download, and there's the Nano Voice. We're coming to you from the studios of Sound Health in the Institute of Bioacoustic Biology. We're a registered 501c3 nonprofit, and there's a reason I'm telling you that, and I'll tell you in a minute. We are the largest alternative research center in Ohio. Our research centers around sticking a microphone in front of your face, taking a sample of your voice so that we can see what your real personality looks like or your real stress looks like, because sometimes we don't know what that is. So I think our guest might disagree with us that that's a good idea, because she's suggesting that we dig inside and find these things for ourselves, and we're trying to hand it to you on a platter. So we'll ask her if that's a good idea. We want to provide you ideas and information in support of a more authentic life. We have a very special guest today, and her website is violetwisdom.com if you guys want to follow along with us. She has written a book, the Book of Simple Human Truth. Her name is Molly Friedenfeld. We'll be with her in just a few minutes. Got a couple of announcements. We have set up some internet information for you that you've asked for. And one of them is you ask us for the information about Chris Christie. So we've put up two videos for you, one on YouTube and one on Vimeo, which we find great because there's no what do you call them, commercials there.
Commercials, yeah.
Yeah, and with the YouTube, it just got ridiculous with commercials. So we have a keynote. The keynote, if we go back to our website, soundhealthoptions.com, and just look at keynote, this is all about calcium this week, and you can read the information there. It says there are frequencies coming from outer space to the planet. NASA's monitoring them. A lot of companies that are dealing with space travel, monitoring them. They are very cyclical. Are there maybe pneumonia frequencies coming at us? Or in the spring, there's histamine that's causing all of our allergies. So every week or so, we try to put up a keynote so that you know what's coming. And this one is about how calcium serves you and serves the planet. Okay, the frequencies now are represented by an A sharp, and this is the 8th or 9th. We're about in the middle of the note of A sharp, and its color is a violet, not the pinky one. It's not moving into pink yet. If it went from blue violet to violet, no, it'll go into pink violet. But here is the keynote that we've written. Universal frequencies continue to plague golfers as forearm frequency equivalents continue to be in the air for the next few days. Stretching muscles before strenuous use is always a good idea, and it might be a useful excuse if your score isn't up to par. The small toe muscles show stress. Toes might cramp on long walks or at night. People are reporting that Polish dill pickle juice helps. One of the most important issues to consider, back to keynote, one of the most important issues to consider when striving for optimal form and function is the use of calcium. Cancer, food, and calcium are nearly the same frequency. So if calcium is not readily available for repair and maintenance, cancer food, 5-HTE, may be accepted by the cells in need. Dr. James Oschman explains that cells repair themselves by sending out a frequency signal for help, which calls the needed materials in for the cells for repair. Translating calcium into usable calcium cell salts supports mood, nerves, energy functions of the body. Succinic acid, another part of the energy cycle, or the Krebs cycle, continues to be active, and that's been active for the last 3 weeks or so. So people's energy may be down a bit, or it may be just fluctuating. So maybe we should take a few extra vitamins just to be safe. As our food nutrients decrease, more conventional wisdom has come around to accept that vitamins could be helpful. Using the right kind of calcium is important. Dr. Lita Lee has some very important articles online about the importance of calcium. You can get in touch with her at Lita, L-I-T-A, Lee.com. LitaLee.com, use her search function and find information about calcium and where you get it and how to use it and all that. So caution, though, we do have the frequencies for cataracts coming up. So if you're a smoker, you might want to take a special blend of Ocuvite so that you don't get cancer from taking their Ocuvite nutrients. And it's just a small, a smidgen, of things that might come up with taking Ocuvite nutrients. But what we've looked at, they have the best, except if you're a smoker. And then they have a special blend. And we did have a question. What is a frequency equivalent? Okay. The numeric representation of anything. And your brain speaks math, so we just kind of jump in and do correlations to what that frequency means. I do want to remind you that we have a 2-day public radiation class coming up on February 27th and 23rd. That is $1,200 or a donation, and we don't mind if your donation is, well, we really do. We don't mind if your donation is small. We're trying to raise money to help the soldiers who were poisoned with Fukushima that were on the U.S. Ronald Reagan that went in there and tried to help. And many of them have gotten leukemia. So we're doing this as a benefit for them. But for those of you who can't afford it, you don't have to pay for it. For those of you who can afford it, that would be very helpful to us. Do we have any other links and things we need to share? The next class date is February 17th to the 21st. I don't know what we're concentrating on, but if you want to take that class and your finances are an issue, please call the office and we'll see what we can arrange. And that number is at the top of our website, 740-698-9119. What are we doing on Tuesday on our happy hour? We are going to be doing compatibilities again Last week we did compatibilities on what you want in a partner. Now we're going to ask for volunteers. We're going to ask you the question, what do you have to offer? We're also going to share, maybe some of you have seen this on our site, we're going to share the ideas of why Prince William chose Kate, because it's very obvious why he chose her. So we're going to share those profiles. I'm going to take a sneak preview. Just go to profiles right above the cat's tail there on the picture you're seeing. And for those of you that are on Blog Talk with us, you can join us by just coming over to soundhealthoptions.com, going to radio, and then just coming into Blog Talk Radio, give you a little link there. But we'd like to have you at least sign in on Blog Talk Radio, because when all of you sign in over here and we don't have anybody over there, it kind of looks bad until the archives come up, and then, there's 1,000 people listening to the show that people really like to just do it at their leisure. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you, Richard, to introduce.
Okay. Before I introduce Molly, I would add that last Wednesday's show that we did on Revolution Radio, we spent an hour talking about Edward Snowden, and it seems like the perfect lead-in into a different kind of truth. But we spent an hour not only listening to a great interview with him in Russia, speaking his truth, and Sherry looking at his voice, but just listening to the kinds of things he's talking about in terms of the information he released and a kind of truth. So this seems like the perfect lead-in to introducing Molly, a different kind of truth seeker and spreader of truths. Molly Friedenfeld is the creator of the global radio show Violet Wisdom Radio. She's an inspiration reporter. Molly finds souls making a positive impact in their communities and shares their inspirational stories with the world. She's also the teacher of Light, inspirational speaker, and the author of the book of Simple Human Truths. Molly creates templates, videos, online courses, and in-depth workshops to motivate and teach others. Welcome, Molly. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be with both of you.
It's a delight. I have to open immediately by saying, because I think what you do is so interesting, that what's the path that led you to become an inspiration reporter? How did you get here, so to speak?
Well, I firmly believe in synchronicities. I believe there is no such thing as coincidence. Everything is a synchronicity placed before us by the universe to inspire the mind or expand the heart. And that's how everything started and opened up for me. And that's why I'm so passionate about spreading inspiration and goodness to others, because I think that's how people get into their hearts, and that's how they want to see the truth in everything. And that was the same path that occurred for me, that opened up everything for me. I started wanting to really peel back the layers on absolutely everything and find my way to being able to access divine wisdom and finding my way to the truth on absolutely everything, not ever assuming but getting the facts on things. And so for me to be an inspiration reporter, it was just along the same line. I had been getting words from people's mouths on, "Wow, that's such a good story. Somebody should talk about that more." Or I'd seen an incredible YouTube video, somebody saving someone, and I'd be like, I need to find out the story behind that story, because when there's always goodness, there's always another layer of incredible goodness that lies beneath that, and then another one, and all the goodness that flows in on an act of just being incredible and extending yourself to someone unconditionally. So I kept getting all these clues basically from the universe about someone needs to do this, and someone needs to help discount all the negative news that's out there in the world and show that there is so much goodness in the world and great people doing incredible, wonderful things, that I was like, I'll step forward, I'll do it. I raised my hand and I'm like, I'm on it. And because I took that assignment and I really believe in it absolutely 100%, that all these incredible people have been flowing in front of me for me to hear their stories and interview and then share with the world. And so it's just been an incredible journey. So that's just one facet of how that all started.
Can I ask a question, Richard?
Sure.
In mind?
No, go ahead.
In speaking with Molly before the show, she said that she wanted to talk about the expression of love. So 2 questions here. One, Molly, what do you think love is, and is truth an expression of love?
Absolutely. I believe that truth and love go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. So when we are absolutely anchored in our heart, and we know when we're anchored in our heart because we can feel that. It's actually a neutral zone. It feels mellow. It feels calming. We can have complete trust when we are anchored in our heart. There is no fear. There's no chattering mind. There's no judgment there or anything like that. And truth goes along with that. We access the wisdom of our heart and this divine wisdom and truth in that same location. And when we are walking on our journeys and our paths here, we all have wanted to be honored since the moment of our birth. And we've all wanted to be able to trust other people absolutely implicitly. And we've all wanted to be able to ask someone a question or an opinion and get an honest answer in return. And when we are delivering absolute truth to someone in a kind and unconditional loving way, that is why truth and love go hand in hand. And it's that simple. We've tried to add complexity into truth and love. And it's just, I always say, like, for love, anytime a stipulation on love is present, unconditional love is not. And that just means, like, you know, I'll love you if you do this for me, or I'll love you if you look that way. It's not, you know, there is absolutely no stipulation. You say, I absolutely love you for the incredible person that you are, and that person can absolutely feel that on a soul level. And when you can give them the truth behind those words, then you have what we've all come here to be, which is the essence of love.
So you could say you show somebody you love them by always being truthful with them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've all wanted absolute truth. When we ask people a question, we aren't asking them the question to have them follow that up with something that's, you know, what I say is there's only truth or untruth. There's not a big lie or a little lie or a little truth. It's either a truth or it's either an untruth. And so if we are asking a question, we all on the heart and soul level want an absolute honest answer.
Well, I would like to give you an example because we have an audience that is just so astute about these kinds of things. I know there's a lot of stories in your book. I just downloaded it last night because we didn't get a copy beforehand. So I was with a friend who we took her to get a job. She didn't have a car, and I drove her to interview for a job. And it came her time, and she stood up and did a little twirl and said, "How do I look?" And I said, "You look just right, just perfect, just right." But she had a big run in her stocking. It wasn't the truth, except I don't believe God lets things happen that aren't supposed to. But if I'd have told her, "Oh, my God, you got a run in your stocking, you can't go in there like that," she may have flubbed the whole interview. So it really wasn't the truth, but it got her the job. So
well, I absolutely believe that the truth is a gift of the heart. And an example would be, like, say someone gets their hair cut and they say to me, you know, do you really like my haircut, or do you think I look fat, or do you think I look good? If someone says to me, do you like my haircut, and I don't like the haircut, I can actually honestly say that haircut is not right for me, and it wouldn't be something that I would get. However, if it feels right in your heart and that haircut feels good to you, then normally people don't ask about it. People ask something because they want, they're feeling maybe insecure or not right about something. Perhaps when they were getting their hair cut, they didn't speak their truth while they were sitting in the chair, and the woman kept cutting the hair shorter and shorter, and they didn't stop themselves and say, okay, stop there, that's short enough, I don't want to go any shorter. So when we can be honest with someone and speak the truth and or say, that looks a little shorter than you would normally get it, it allows that other person to say, you know what, you're right, I should have spoke up and said, I only wanted 1 inch cut off, and now you've cut off 2. So that allows a person to find their inner power and their inner strength and step forward. And we're all being asked at this time to come here and be the people that we have promised to be, and be the people that we have chosen to be. And that all is the essence. That all is the essence of truth. In your example about the run in the stockings, I would have, if that, and I'm just speaking for myself, if that were me, I would have said, you absolutely look great, I think you look fabulous, but I just noticed that you have a run in your stocking. Do you have any other nylons that you could, change into? And then that gives her the option to leave for the interview a little bit early and pick some up at the store on the way there, or not wear nylons at all, or wear them with the run. But when people are asking us something, I believe they're actually asking us to say, be a part of my journey here with me. Step into this, and what do you honestly think? So that's why I just always give people the gift of truth, but it also needs to be followed up with the gift of compassion, and that is a compassionate delivery without any ounce of judgment involved. It's just you're delivering truth with love.
Well, she was minutes from walking through the door for her interview, so she couldn't go find more stockings. But just as an end to that story, is your book about helping people find their truth, or is it about your truth through your journey?
I believe it's the journey of humanity, to be honest with you. I feel that we're all connected. All of the hearts of every single soul that's walking this earth is connected in some way, and we can see a better example of that now because of how the internet has connected the world, and how we can find out when a nuclear reactor gets destroyed in Japan that the radioactive water is now washing up on our shores, in different places of the world, and we can say, we're all connected here. We need to have just as much invested interest in what's going on with all the souls of the world and just our little world. So this book that I've written is actually separated into 4 quadrants, and the quadrants are peace, love, truth, and joy, and it really shows the walk through each of those. I call them the 4 pillars of humanity, because we all can look through our lives that we all have had different walks through peace, through love, through truth, and through finding our own joy. And this really kind of just shows to people how we can always be conscious and walk through the world with conscious goodness and conscious humility, and say, it's not just about me. What I do and my actions here and how I show love to other people, that gives other people peace that are in my presence, or that can help another person feel joyful, or delivering truth to someone can really help them move beyond something that has been a sticking point with them for 10 years, but then someone comes along and actually says, could I take a moment and just maybe illuminate or show you something that maybe you're not seeing? And that gives them this gift of wisdom that perhaps for the past 10 years no one has stepped forward and been brave enough to illuminate something for someone. So that's what this book is really all about. It's I believe that there's a lot of my personal stories on how I've traveled through the world, helping other people, saving lives, saving animals, just blessing other people with acts of kindness, but I back it up with, and you can do this too, and this is how we can do this together. This is how we can all work through this together. Actually, the last quadrant of my book is on truth, and that really shows us how when we begin to walk in the truth, we're actually saying to the universe, show me everything, and the things that start to appear because that we've made that choice to see everything are amazing, the things that occur once we really want to see all the truth before us.
So I think from what I've seen of your book, it's about how to go inside and make decisions for the betterment of all concerned, and that you don't become your own first priority. Others join in that priority. How do you tell the difference in how much you give or don't give?
Well, actually, I believe that first and foremost, we are all on our own personal journeys here. We all design our own journeys on how we want something to go down. We are the ones that are the creators of how our lives look. We design each day, the moment we get out of bed, whether we're going to be in a good mood or a bad mood, or if we woke up in a bad mood, if we're going to allow that to spiral us downward into, a depression state, or if we're going to snap ourselves out of it and stay conscious and say, okay, something bad might have happened, but I'm going to find my way to look beyond that, to overcome that. Like Martin Luther King always would say, we shall overcome. He didn't say we have a huge problem here that's never going to be fixed. He always was able to look beyond the wall. And so when we're on our own personal journey and we're taking responsibility for our own actions, our own thoughts, and our own personal steps that we make, we become these models of goodness and these models of truth for other people in the world to look at and go, what is she doing? Hold on a second. She's happy. She's drama-free. She is good to other people. And she has this really simple, cool life. And mine is full of complexity and drama and problems, one right after another. Maybe I can look at what she's doing and build off of her foundation. And that's why I talk about creating templates and foundations, because I call it open book living. Like, anyone can look at anything that I'm doing. You can go on my computer, look in any files, look in any drawer in my home, look in anything that I'm doing, search anything on Molly Friedenfeld, Google me. Anything that you find will show everything that I am. And when you can put that out to the world and have other people grab hold of it, that's how we help the world. We have to be able to do our own work first, and then we can branch out and spread our light out and help others. But if we stand here like what we've all been programmed to believe and point fingers at everyone and say, that grouping of people, they have to change. And those people have to change without us changing ourselves first, then where are we? We're all still pointing fingers at one another. And this isn't about pointing fingers at anyone. It's about really finding that we all are the essence of love, because when we transition to the light, once we pass away, we transition to the essence of love. So why can't we attain that while we are walking upon this earth? There is no reason why we can't.
And I'm trying to formulate this. It seems like I haven't seen the book, but from what you're saying and from what I've read on your site and heard some of your shows, it seems like you're talking about what I would think of as a heart-centered life, meaning you're heart-centric in a positive sense, and that you operate from a place of open, clear love. And how do you take people through the steps to get there in the work that you do with individuals? Do you help them get to a point of loving themselves first? Because I think it's, in my opinion, that you need to be able to completely love yourself before you can then spread that out into the world. Is that true?
Absolutely. I completely agree with you 100%, and that's why I talk about and I teach in my workshops. I have an online angel communication and inspiration course, and we also teach in-person workshops called Accessing the Wisdom of the Heart. And this is all about that whole thing that I was saying about we're all on our personal journeys. That personal journey is about finding the love for yourself, like self-love. It's just not possible to love another person if we don't love ourselves, because we are mirrors and we reflect out. what we want to get in return. It's like when you're looking at a mirror. If you're frowning at yourself in the mirror, you're going to get a frown back. If you smile, you're going to get a smile. If you punch the mirror, you're going to get, injured. So we really have to be able to look in our own mirror every day and go, I am a being of love and light, and I am going to spread that out in the world as well. So absolutely, this is all about heart-centered living. Everything that I do is all about working from that heart space, working with compassion and saying we're all on journeys here. Like, I have no right to judge or say anything about anyone else because I have been working on stuff all through my life as well, and I've made mistakes and fallen down and hurt people along the way, and I just ask for, forgiveness and grant people forgiveness in return, because that's how we connect on a heart level, by saying, I understand that you're going through a tough time. I did too, and my journey is probably pretty darn similar to yours, and I'm going to help you through it because this is what happened to me. And you're transferring and helping people with the wisdom that you have gained from your journey, and it has absolutely no basis in judgment. Everything's based in compassion.
There's a nice story in your book about how you came upon the name Violet Wisdom. Would you like to share that?
Sure, absolutely. Violet Wisdom to me it really encapsulates all that I do. The color of violet to me represents truth and purity and nobility and honor. All of that is wrapped in the energetic essence of the word violet. And we are really just it's all intention of what we do. And the thing that's very interesting is that if you take the word violet and you could feel the energy of based on those words that I just said, but if you add in one letter, the letter N into the word violet, you get the word violent. And that's why you can completely change something just with one letter. And so it really is absolutely intentional. Violence is a completely different energetic essence than the word violet. And so we have to stay conscious of what we're doing. So that was one of the things that came about for me, about just all these little nuances, that we have to be very conscious and aware of everything that we're doing. The word wisdom, of course, is really talking about ancient wisdom, ancient truth. And we know when we're accessing ancient wisdom and ancient truth is because it's the same wisdom that has been around since the beginning of time. And everything that when people say to me, what is it that you do, and why are you talking about love and truth and everything? Well, and is this all, God-based? And if you look at any Bible, all the Bibles talk about truth and love. And we as man have added in complexity to think that we have to add complexity to make it more important. But when you peel back all the layers and you get back to love and truth, it's very simple and it's very pure. And so violet wisdom is very, very important to me that way. The way that I actually acquired Violet Wisdom as a website is I sat in the silence one day to find out what is it that I do, what encapsulates absolutely everything that I do, because I didn't want it to go under my name. I wanted it to go under an umbrella that everyone could go, oh, I get it, someday. So I sat in the silence and I went through a series of words, and when those two came together, I was like, my gosh, that feels right. If it's meant to be, that website will be available. And the day that I went and looked on Google to see if that was available, the only thing came up was an obituary for a woman named Violet Wisdom who passed away on the same day as my father. So I knew that was my sign, a synchronicity again, that I was totally on the right track.
Wow. That part right there about the fact that the woman died that day and her name was Violet Wisdom. What an amazing name to be born with. Wow.
I know.
That in itself is astonishing. That just the idea that somebody held that essence for you and then handed it off when you needed a website. Wow.
I know.
Speaking of synchronicity, that's amazing. That's a great story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. And I knew, when you get that zing of electricity that goes through you, I was like, that's it. I mean, I purchased that domain name within moments of finding that it was available. So I knew that was for me. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. What is your opinion, or what do you think would happen if everyone told the truth?
I feel that we would acquire heaven on earth. We talk about, like, everyone wants to go to heaven someday. I don't know if anyone that says, I want to live with the intention of having an experience in hell. I don't think anyone even really means that, even if they said it. But we all have the ability to have heaven on earth, and I absolutely believe that heaven resides within each one of us. You can also have your personal hell reside within you. It is all a journey within your heart. And these things that I've been talking about for years are actually, we know that we're accessing divine wisdom that's coming from the divine, because we all say things in different ways, because our inflections, our tones, our words are like chords that strum on someone else's heart. And the things that I've been saying for years and that I have in my book are the things that Pope Francis right now is talking about. The same things. All roads lead to God. I believe that heaven resides within us. He's now saying, I don't really believe that there actually is a hell, that hell resides, within us, our personal hell that we have created if we think the world is out to get us and everyone is horrible and nothing's good. We can also spiral up. And the way that you spiral up is by asking yourself. You make that conscious choice to say, show me the truth in everything, and it will be revealed. And when you can find your way to the truth on everything, you discount fear. We're in, I believe, absolutely a dimension you have to choose, whether you're going to have a fear-based life or a love-based life. And you can give me any example, and I can tell you right off the bat whether it's love-based or fear-based. And everything that's the essence of love is the things that make you feel absolutely great and wonderful and loving. Anything that has judgment or, oh my gosh, don't do that, or worry, which keeps us totally locked in the past, anything that keeps us locked in the past is fear-based. Anything that has judgment is fear-based. Any of those things. And fear means that you're actually intentionally creating your own personal hell. But if you say, I absolutely, and I have on my website, by the way, I have absolute faith in the light of humanity, because I absolutely do. I have absolute faith, not hope. I have faith, because faith is absolutely stronger than hope. Hope is just saying, I really hope that, someday this will change. When you say I have faith, you're holding this vision in your mind that you can already see what you are visualizing in your mind. So I believe that truth will usher in the era of light and love on this planet.
And how do you get people to, so I love everything you're saying, and I want to back up the tape in my mind for a moment. How do you... Are you sure it's not digital?
Are you on tape? You're not on digital?
Yeah, I'm Memorex, yeah. I'm a virtual voice. I'm a really big computer. How do you assist people in getting to a point, we're operating from the position of speaking the truth. How do you assist people in knowing when they're hearing the truth, or I would even say feeling the truth? Do you help them begin to trust their intuition and how to use that, so that they can then, when they hear the truth, it feels right, or they hear it and they know it is the truth?
Yes, I help people with that as well. And that's a lot of the reasons why I work with angels, because angels are on a very high vibration. Angels only deal with love and light and truth. And when you're asking angels to walk alongside you and help you on your journey, they will assist you in showing you everything. So when you're talking about truth, you know that you've got truth because it doesn't feel wiry. It doesn't feel like there's anything like love is with the energetic of truth. So if we're doing anything that's discounting a person, separating ourselves from one of our brothers and sisters on this earth, doing anything that undermines someone else, you can know that that's not the truth. I mean, you can know, I can just tell you absolutely 100% there is not truth there. That is fear. That is, so you're either on the love dimension, which resides with truth, or you're on the fear dimension. So I show and help people get their way to that so they can find out the difference between, this things that are placed on us by society. You should do this. You have to do that. You should be like this if you want to be one of us. I help people feel that certainty of the heart, I call it. And I've had this as a gift since I was a little child, when people would you could have 1,000 people telling me, we're going to go in this direction because everyone else is going in this direction and this feels right. But for me, if I tap into my heart and I know what feels right, I don't care if the whole world is going in one direction. I'm going to go in the opposite way because it feels right in my heart. And I guess the best example I can give you on that is way back in the 70s, back in Guyana, there was a man named Jim Jones who started this community in the jungle, brought 900 people there, I think. And one day he just decided, you know what, we're all going to drink this Kool-Aid, and you guys are all going to do it because I'm telling you to, and you should do what I say. There were only a few people that tapped into their heart that day and said, absolutely not. There is no way. It ain't going down this way. And they ran into the jungle. The other people that were there, many of them, I bet, were saying, oh, this doesn't feel right. I don't know. We shouldn't do this. I don't know. And you're getting wiry and anxious and your blood's pumping and everything. Those are body signals and signs to alert you. It's your body's alarm system going, ding, 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 ding. Something's going on here that isn't right. And that's what I help people realize, that certainty of the heart is where you are watching out for yourself. You are your own best advocate. So that helps us too. I mean, you guys talk a lot about health, and a lot of people plow past body signals that are giving us clues that we're doing something wrong that's harming our body, or we're doing something that's going to ultimately injure us in the long run. And those are the things that I really love. I am passionate about helping people be their own advocates and helping themselves find their way to the truth on things.
We have a question from the audience, and then I'll turn it back over to Richard. One of our listeners wants to know if you practice the violet flame of the White Brotherhood.
Saint Germain is one of the reasons why I also have violet wisdom. I actually was just in Napa Valley back in October, and I took a picture. I take pictures of absolutely everything because this online angel course that I teach, I like to document everything. I don't just like to talk about it. I like to show people, this is what it looks like when angels are communicating with you. This is what it looks like when you're experiencing a synchronicity. And I have a picture of an orb with a violet aura around it that I took in Napa Valley that is included in one of my courses. So I absolutely believe in the violet flame. I believe in, there's many are either our relatives that have passed on that have transitioned to the light, angels. We have so many beings of light that assist us behind the scenes, and they're always talking to us and guiding us and loving us from behind the scenes. So yes, absolutely, I work with all that.
I love the fact that you use the phrase certainty of the heart, that you really, direct people toward being heartfelt. I think it's an underrated phrase, being heartfelt. I see a lot of, like the Institute of Heart Math in California does a lot of work on heart rate variability, which is a technique using some devices to monitor your heart and to learn to use the heart energy to be more what I would call heart-centric and get out of the brain-centric into being heartfelt. That's not really their path. That's more something I'm fascinated with. So here you're talking about the being, you're not saying mind, it's my mind I'm certain with, it's that. You're being really heartfelt, which I think is just very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That certainty of the heart has, I believe 100% that words have energetic power to them. So when you use that word, words combined together as well, like certainty of the heart, you're saying, I am certain. I'm not just kind of sure, I am certain of something. The other thing that I think is really cool too is like you guys opened the show and you were saying, Richard, I don't know why I always feel like I have to say our names. I say our names, and it's because our names have this energetic imprint on the reason why we're here. They contain clues on our paths and our journey. And a couple days before this interview today, it was yesterday, I woke up and the song that was playing in my head, and I'm sure people wake up and you have songs in your head, and these are everything, that's another synchronicity. It's like when you peel back the layers and go, why am I singing that song? It was so interesting. So I woke up and I'm singing the song My Cherie Amour. I'm like, why am I singing that Stevie Wonder song? And I sang, it was like a couple different times during the day. And then when Sherry called me today, I'm like, that's why, because I'm going to be talking to Sherry about love, because amour means love. So I thought that was so funny. I'm like, that's why I was singing that yesterday, because they were getting my heart and my angels were getting me ready for this interview that we're doing today. So there's all sorts of this stuff when you're certain, when you have that certainty of the heart, you realize that absolutely everything is put in front of us to grow our soul in some way, illuminate ourselves, or bless another with the wisdom that we have gained. So that's why I can't talk enough about certainty of the heart and accessing the wisdom of the heart and all of that.
And I don't want this to be a downer, but I can't help myself. How do you suggest people, deal with is not quite the right term I want. What do we do when we hear our leaders show a lack of truth? How do you contextualize that, being a heartfelt person? When you hear a politician and you hear them speaking and you feel they're not speaking the truth, where do you place that? What do you do with that?
Well, if you believe that we're all connected, so I believe that we all are. That's how, synchronicities occur, because people guide other people behind the scenes, and someone walks in front of you at the grocery store that you haven't seen in 20 years, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so strange that we're meeting like this. That's awesome, So when we can realize that we're all connected, we can also realize that we are the people. Again, it's our own personal journey, and then we look out and we connect with this grouping of people, and we can realize that we are personally responsible for putting these leaders in positions that are untruthful. When we realize that we are watching television shows that demoralize or degrade or are untruthful to other people, when we decide that we want to stop that and we want to live in the truth, so when we personally are living in the truth, then we will start electing souls to be placed in these positions of great importance in our world, and those will be the souls that are the people of truth as well. So and I can say that if you look at anyone that's looking at our leaders that are being untruthful, and you can say, those people that are pointing the fingers at the leaders saying, I can't believe they're not being truthful, and why aren't they just being honest with us? But yet that person that's saying that is embezzling from their company, or they're stealing office supplies, or they've, just cheated out of someone something. So we all have to be the same people that we want to be looking at, and that's that mirror again. We're looking at who we're putting in our office, and when we say, and we hold these people up to a higher vision and say, absolutely not. You guys are in an incredible, important position, and we are holding you up to a higher standard, and we are not going to put up with anybody that's being untruthful, that's, in such a great position. So that's where I feel like things will change. It's the same thing like people talk about the news is so negative. The news is so negative. Then it's really important to turn it off and switch it. And that's why I do all those good news stories and those good news reportings, because there's a lot of goodness in the world. But if you're going to focus on that negative news, then you're going to say everything's bad in the world. Once we get a grouping of people, a huge grouping of people, to collectively switch to truth and collectively switch to goodness, you will see amazing things occur on this planet. I have absolute faith in that as well.
Do you consider yourself one of those spiritual samurais you talk about in your book? Because you seem to have such a passion about what you just said.
Well, I don't consider myself that. I just consider myself one woman who wants to change the world positively. And I believe that, when people say there's no way one person can change the world, I say, let me show you how I can, because it always has begun that way. Like the Golden Gate Bridge began that way with one person that had one vision, and they created this incredible monument that we drive over and appreciate to this day. People have these incredible visions, and if you aren't taking it from that space that lives within your heart and you bring it then up into your mind and create that, you can bring it out into the world where all these souls, hundreds of years later, thousands of years later, are benefiting from the incredible wisdom that you have brought forth, which is a truth. It's the truth of your heart that came forward to give this gift forward to the world. So I don't consider myself any spiritual samurai or anything. And the thing that's, kind of funny is I'm just talking about love and honesty and truth here. And a lot of people go, what is that all about? And I'm like, well, it's about love and honesty and truth. It's about stuff that we haven't wanted to see, but it's time now. It's really time that we are here doing what we came here to be. I just interviewed on my show, which was so cool, Darnell Barton, who's the man who was a New York City bus driver who just saved the woman from jumping off the bridge in New York, and it went global. It went viral, and Donald Trump donated money to him and everything like that. And he was just this bus driver driving over this overpass in New York, and he stopped, and the camera that's in his bus caught him in action. Everyone else, a bike rider, just rolled right behind this woman, and a person just walked by, and the woman was on the other side of the guardrail ready to jump. And he got off that bus and walked up to her slowly and put his arm around her and said, would you come on the other side of this guardrail? And he sat on the ground with her and prayed with her and just showed her such compassion. It was amazing. He is changing the world with that act that he performed that took 20 seconds, but he extended his heart to someone like so unbelievably. If you Google Darnell Barton, you can see that video. If you watch it and you don't cry, I would be surprised, because it's just the story of humanity contained within 30 seconds in that book. In that video. So he's the same person doing what I'm doing. He's trying to just spread goodness in the world, and it can happen, and we can all do it. We can all tap into our heart and go, what is our promise that we've promised to accomplish here? And you'll find it. It'll come bubbling up. You'll get it. You'll understand what we're supposed to be doing.
One of the things you teach in your book is how to get people to pay attention to the signals and to listen to their own intuition. What else do you want people to get from your book? How can they get in touch with you? And how can they buy your book?
Well, they can get in touch with me. I make it easy. Everyone can find anything that I do if you either Google Molly Friedenfeld, which is F as in Frank, RIEDENFELD, or you can just go to www.violetwisdom.com. My book is on there. The online angel courses that I teach are on there. Everything's absolutely on there. And then the one thing that I would love to tell people is, that this wisdom that comes in when we're accessing the wisdom of our heart, and the wisdom from the universe that can assist us, that can say, hey, look over there when no one else is seeing it. Look over there. There's a woman on the guardrail, and you look and you go, oh my gosh, I need to stop and help that person. That's the only thing that matters right now. All of that comes in very subtly. It just kind of lands in your mind like a mist, and that's why we have to stay conscious. Because when we're conscious and we have our eyes open and our ears open and our mouths to speak our truth, we produce miracles, and miracles come in our path all the time. So that's the things I would love to tell people.
I don't see can people write to you, or do you have a media department and they say, we want your class with us, we want you to be on our radio show? I mean, how would they get in touch with you?
On my homepage, there's actually, right by my picture, they can get in touch with me via email, which is mollyfriedenfeld@gmail.com. There's also a contact form on my website, so people can contact me that way. If they just click around on my website, there's many different ways that they can contact me that way.
I see it. Okay. People who are watching the broadcast, we just pointed out. There's your radio schedule. You're on iTunes, too.
Yeah, and there's also a calendar so people can see, I do a lot of workshops in person in Minnesota, but that's why I'm designing actually a truth course that will be an interactive truth course on my website as well that will be available soon. Those courses that I teach all have audio and video and pictures. They're actually, I call them the online, like Harry Potter series, because they're all interactive. Like when you're opening the book, like when Harry Potter did, and the pictures were moving and all that, I create an experience like that. So it's called like a living, breathing course. It's not just like reading a stagnant page. You're really being part of what I'm doing.
Wonderful. And I know we're moving toward the end of the show, and I want to ask you a question about what 3 things would you suggest people do every day to lead toward what I would call the, heartfelt life?
I would say that you connect your heart with the hearts of humanity. It takes only a moment. Before you get out of bed, or when you get out of bed, you can just say, I'm sending my light out across the earth. I'm connecting with the hearts of humanity. And then you walk with conscious humility in your life while you're out in the world, and you're extending yourself to others unconditionally. And when you see someone that's in need, you extend yourself. That we're looking at, on our own personal journeys, but we're also looking towards other people to love as well. And then I would just say the best thing that I can tell people is begin your walk of truth. You will be amazed at how your life will change.
Wonderful. Wow. Very cool. Thank you ever so much, Molly. This has been, very fun. And I love the heartfelt conversation. Being a person who spent most of my life banging around in my head, I find being more heartfelt, filtering through the heart is, it's a powerful tool. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, thank you.
I suggest everybody go to violetwisdom.com for the listeners only on Blog Talk Radio. And also that Molly also has a show also on Blog Talk Radio under the title Violet Wisdom, which I suggest listening to. Loved the whale interview. That brought me to tears. And that was great. And I think we'll be talking more about the heartfelt experience. The heartfelt lifestyle. There's a hat there somewhere, a T-shirt, I'm not sure. But thank you very much. Any thoughts, last thoughts, Sherry? Or are you out getting ready to shovel snow already? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to keep up with what you guys are talking about, running through her website to show people. So we're on the radio page now.
Great, okay. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. For those of you in snow country, good luck. We have rain here in California. I'm watching the creek next to my house rise, which is kind of exciting.
Awesome, Richard, after all that drought.
Yeah. If we could just tone it down just a notch, that would be really good. The creek rising part is a little exciting. But I'm happy to see the rain. Everybody have an excellent weekend, and we'll see you on Happy Hour on Tuesday and on Wednesday evening